thought I wasn't ready. All right, now I'm ready. Dennis is already opened up, so we can jump in and get started on this beautiful day of unleavened. Start first day of 7 days to where we are to eat unleavened bread or unleavening, get the leavening out of our house, get the sin out of our heart and out of our lives. And so I put an emphasis on getting the sin out of our heart and out of our lives, because that's kind of what this symbolizes for Yahweh as these days. And when we look at it is, if we're seeking to be like Yeshua, obviously we're seeking to strive towards perfection. No man's perfect, but there's nothing wrong with us striving towards perfection. And in our striving towards perfection, the symbol that Yahweh has given us is for us to just every year, just think about the things we do, kind of the things that are in our house, our actions, and it's like a preparation for us. I was mentioning to my wife, it almost feels like spring cleaning. You're spring cleaning your house, and you're spring cleaning your heart and your body, your soul. And with that spring cleaning, it's just, we gotta really focus and think about those small things that are in our cupboards and in our cabinets and our pantries. Those little things that we might not normally look at to see that's an issue, but we gotta really look at the fine print to see, does that have leavening in it? Does it have anything that I need to throw out? And when we do that every year, it allows us to repeat of that process. And it's not just thinking about it during the year. I find myself, I don't know if you guys do, that when I go to the grocery store, if it's around January, I'm looking at, okay, am I gonna eat this before April? And if I'm not, I put it back on the shelf. And I'll buy it in April, after the feast. Just thinking ahead, and then that thinking ahead, that mindset, what does that do for you? That allows you to think about your daily activity over the course of the year of keeping sin, keeping that leavening out of the things that you do. And so Yahweh is building us, preparing us for something greater that we might know and see and act accordingly when it comes to the things that are going on around us, whether it's in our household, whether it's in our pantry, whether it's in our daily activity, whether it's in the people around us. And so the title of this one, I started thinking about, DeLeavening, because we did a lot of cleaning yesterday, and actually the course of this last week trying to get prepared for this. But I started to think a different way about this time of year, and I came up with this sermon, which is called The Ultimate DeLeavening. Because we're focused on how we're removing sin from our lives, from around us, from our houses. But what is that ultimate DeLeavening? What is that ultimate removal of sin, not in our lives, but in the world? Start thinking about, what is Yahweh going to do when it comes to the sin that's in the world? How is he going to de-leaven the world? And who is considered leaven in the world? Bob, you want to give a stab at it?
Yeah. Somebody else mentioned it, Satan, the devil.
Yes, the ultimate leavening that's in this world is Satan. But before we get there, he has his minions, he has his soldiers, he has his innocent bystanders that don't even know that they're being used. He has a whole host that Yahweh will purge this world of before there can be a new heaven and earth. And actually there are two stages, and we're going to kind of talk about that today. And so I'm not unveiling anything new when it comes to the days of unleavened, but I'm just looking at it from, if we're thinking about it now, we're thinking about during this time, this week in our lives. If Yahweh's thinking about it, big perspective, a big picture, he's thinking of that last day. When just before his kingdom comes, he is going to have to get rid of all of those things that are leaven in this world. So let's turn to Psalms 92. Psalms 92, verse 5. And just a couple of verses here. Psalms 92:5. Psalms 92:5 gives us a real good picture of when let's just say the first de-leavening will happen. And we all know what the first de-leavening is. If not, we'll talk about it. Psalms 92 verse 5 says, O Yahweh, how great is thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doth a fool understand this. When the wicked spring as the grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. When the leavening in this world is just so much that the world cannot bear it, when iniquity will flourish and just go, to and fro, as it said in Scripture, countlessly, then they shall be destroyed. Then the leavening will be taken out of the house. I kind of think about that when I think about, imagine if, everything in your pantry except for a few items had leavening in it, and you didn't really prepare for this time, and you had to throw it away or give it away or try to consume all of that stuff. Well, we know that Yahweh's predicted that his consumption of that will be to burn it all with fire, to get rid of it. And he's promised to destroy it forever so that it does not come back. He's not going to buy it back and put it back in the pantry. The wicked being considered the easiest thing to spot in the pantry, so to speak, of Yahweh, which has leavening. He has promised to remove it forever from the new heaven and the new earth, remove it forever remove it from the 1,000 years, so that peace can be on earth, and to remove it for our sake. Because it's almost like if we have leavening in our house, if we have it and we forget about, oh, it's in, the refrigerator in the very back of the freezer section, I forgot that it's there. Yeah, we didn't know it, but that's a detriment to us. We didn't prepare, we didn't seek diligently to make sure it was gone. And we definitely don't want Yahweh to account that against us. But for our behalf, he's going to destroy it forever, so that, during the time that we are to be prosperous, we shall inherit the earth, and we shall be, as the sands with our white robes, we obviously don't want to be thinking about or dealing with those things that are considered leaven in this world. Isaiah 14:22 is Yahweh's prediction of how he will do this. Isaiah 14, verse 22. Got a couple of verses here. Isaiah 14:22. Yahweh is prophesying through Isaiah. For I will raise up against them, saith Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, and remnant, and son, and nephew, saith Yahweh. I will also make it a possession for the bittern, and pool of waters. I will sweep in the basin of destruction, saith Yahweh of hosts. Yahweh of hosts has sworn, saying, surely as I have thought, so shall it come to pass. And as I have proposed, so shall it stand, that I will break the Assyrians in my land, and upon my mountain tread him underfoot. And remember that, tread him underfoot. Then shall his yoke depart from off them, and his burden depart from off their shoulders. This is the purpose that is purposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all the nations. For Yahweh of hosts hath proposed, and who shall disannul it? And his hand is stretched out, and whom shall turn it back? Who's the right hand of Yahweh? Yeshua. Yeshua will stamp those that are leavened in this world under his foot. He will get rid of them at his return. Yahweh will use his son at that time to rid his house of all leavening. And we think about it as, I guess that's the first de-leavening. But is that the ultimate de-leavening? Because he will come back in his glory with his angels by fire, get rid of everything that is sin and wicked at that time, so that there can be peace on earth. But what will happen after that, after the 1,000 years? Somebody done bought some more leavening and put it back in the house, right? So we got to get rid of it. But we got to think about, is that just the ultimate de-leavening that takes place? And I say no, because the last great day, in my opinion, when all is said and done, is the ultimate de-leavening. But let's focus on, you got the wicked, you got those that are wicked at the time of Yahshua's return, but you also have some other actors or some other leavening outside of just people that are sinning, that people that are wicked, the people that are doing things that they shouldn't be doing, that are not adhering to Yahweh's law of removing all of that sin away from them. Some of those, or a couple of those actors, are found in Revelations 20, verse 7. Revelations 20, verse 7. We all know these verses. Because if Yahshua is coming to de-leaven Yahweh's world, what's going to happen after that 1,000 years? Yahweh is going to actually de-leaven the entire world, and that ultimate de-leavening. Revelations 20, verse 7 says, "And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out and deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is the sands of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and encompassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city. And fire came down from Elohim out of heaven and devoured them." That ultimate de-leavening of the entire world, that nothing that is not of spiritual body can withstand. Now, when we're de-leavening our house, we're, like I said, we're trying to eat it all up, trying to give it away, trying to not buy it, or we're trying to throw it in the garbage. But Yahweh says no, so that it does not come back, so that it does not enter his house ever again. He is going to destroy it with fire. I've never, during de-leavening, set stuff on fire to get rid of it. I just throw it in garbage can, put it out on the curb, and it's gone. But is that really getting rid of it in Yahweh's eyes? Not saying there's anything wrong with throwing it in the garbage. Yahweh sees a higher or better way of getting rid of all of the leavening that will be in the earth, even before Yahshua's return and thereafter. But the ultimate de-leavening is still not happened yet. And why do I say that?
This heaven and this earth is still intact.
Yes. And what is the next thing after Yahweh destroys everything with fire?
The new heaven and new earth.
New heaven and new earth, and what must happen after that? Or before that, excuse me. Judgment. Let's go to Matthew 25:31. And here is what I think is the ultimate de-leavening of new heaven and new earth, as Curtis puts it, because as those are raised to be judged before Yahshua, this is the last time for existence of leavening and anything, anywhere, at any time. Matthew 25, we're going to jump around here a little bit. We're just going to have a couple of verses, but we're going to jump through and not do the whole thing. Matthew 25:31 says, "When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And let's skip down to verse 41, Matthew 25:41. Then shall he say unto them that are on his left hand, Depart from me, you cursed, into everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his angels. That is the ultimate DeLeavening. Instantaneous, no more existence. Not to be rebought, not to creep in mistakenly into the house and sit on the shelf in the back and accidentally be overlooked. A total destruction and elimination of the wicked that are considered leaven in Yahweh's house. And verse 46, 25:46 said, And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into everlasting life eternal. The reason I kind of brought this up is because a lot of us have been going through a lot of things that are going on, in these, few days, and we're kind of talking. It's usually building up to this time. There's always something happening, always something negative. You got the phone ringing. If it's not my cell phone, it's the phone in there. Something's gonna happen.
I took all of this phone, right?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Last time I spoke, my phone was blowing up in my pocket, and you guys saw me. I can't take it, and I couldn't take it at that time. And I tell everybody this is no coincidence. Stuff like this just doesn't just happen. Oh, you're reading things into it. Oh, that's just a coincidence, man. Because you're thinking about it, that's why it's so impactful. But what are the chances I give my wife both of my phones, because I have two phones, and the phone in there rings? It's no coincidence. There's an increased level of, what does it say, iniquity that's flourishing. There's an increased level of wickedness that's springing forth like grass in this world. There's an increased level of things that are pressuring those that try to follow Yahweh's word. And when we think about this increase and how we must stay focused and stay spiritually fortified and mentally strong to get through it, one of those things that helped me is, what's going to happen to all of them and all of that? When we're talking about days of unleavened, they will be burned with fire. It's almost like, all of this stuff that you guys are doing to me right now, when it's all said and done, where will you be? And where will I be? So instead of focusing on the attacks, I try to switch my mind and focus on the end result. My job to do what I need to do, to be as similar to Yahshua as I can, do the will of the Father, believe that he came for me to save me and all of those that are his, and just not worry about it. If you're not worried about it, it's not to the forefront of your brain, then it's not so impactful. But I digress. So when I started thinking about this, I started thinking about, oh yeah, what's the end result? Who's going to get their comeuppance, so to speak? And I laugh, because the wicked, the adversary, and his minions, the principalities, the evil and the wickedness in high places, I liken them to bullies on the playground during recess. They're pushing all the kids around. They always get in trouble. So when the school bell rings and we get to go home, where will they be? In the principal's office, in detention, in the lake of fire. So you're doing all of this stuff to Yahweh's people, but where will you be when the new heaven and new earth is brought about? And I know me and Grandma was talking the other day at Passover, yesterday, and she was like, yeah, he's after you because you keep poking him. Well, I'm going to keep poking him. Because as we talked a long time ago, there are more of them with me than there are with him. Those that are behind me that can't be seen. The angels, like Elijah showed his servant, that there were so many. Matter of fact, I still have this from the other day. Let's go there. 2 Kings 6, verse 15. 2 Kings 6, verse 15. I didn't have this in there, but we're going to go there. 2 Kings 6, verse 15 through 17. And this is the story of Elijah and the Assyrian, was it Assyrians? I can't remember now. The Syrians, excuse me, were pretty much after him, and he went into another city, and they found out where he was, and they went and surrounded that city. And then pick it up in verse 15, and it says, his servant saw that all of those horses, well, let's go start in 14. Therefore sent he their horses and chariots as the king of Syria, and a great host, and came by night and encompassed the city about, the city that Elijah was in. And when the servant of the man of Elohim was raised early and gone forth, behold, hosts encompassed the city both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, Alas, my master, how shall we do? This kind of reminiscence of the beloved city we just read, right? And how Gog and Magog will encompass the saints about. And what does Yahweh do? He destroys all of them with fire, that DeLeavening. Verse 16, and he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. Another one of my favorite passages. And Elijah prayed and said, Yahweh, I pray thee open his eyes that he may see. And Yahweh opened his eyes, and the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elijah. His protection. So again, adversary feels that I'm poking him, and he wants to attack. Go for it. Because when school is over with, where will I be? And where will he be? Let's go back to, turn to Daniel 8, verse 23. Daniel 8, verse 23. Because we've talked about the ultimate DeLeavening of the wicked. Those that will be separated to Yahshua's left side during judgment when he sits on the white throne. Their everlasting fire, which they will be thrown in, where the devil and his angels are prepared, but who also will get their comeuppance. Daniel 8, verse 23. And in the latter times of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full. That reminds me of Psalms 92 we were just reading, when the wicked spring forth like the grass and iniquity, it flourishes. Here it says, when the transgressors are come to the full. A king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. Where is he getting his power from? Yeah, adversary, beast. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And so I'll stop there. Again, I've said this a couple of times. All of us will not make it out of this unscathed. All of us will not see the fullness. But those that don't, if we stay true, we steer the course until our end, though the adversary or, his minions or this false prophet or the anti-Messiah or Antichrist or whatever you want to call it, though that he may prevail over some of us, some of the mighty of Yahweh. Again, when school is over with, where will we be and where will he be? When the whole world is de-leavened, will we be considered leavening, or will we be considered unleavened to keep in the house of Yahweh. Now let's continue. Verse 25. And through his policies also he shall cause crafts to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes. He's going to try to stand up against Yahshua when he returns, but what will happen to him? But he shall be broken without hands. Done with. De-leavened. Taken out of here. Getting his comeuppance. Getting rid of the anti-Messiah, and not just the anti-Messiah, but the system that perpetuates the anti-Messiah thought process. Everything that is around, that's in the world, that's utilized to go against those that are Yeshua's. By the beast and the false prophet. Those will be taken out and broken by Yeshua's return. Did you have something, Bob? No? Okay, I thought I saw your hand. Taking out, de-leavened, getting rid of at Yeshua's return. Not in the ultimate, but, as I said, the first de-leavening by Yeshua. Because we know what happens to them in the ultimate. Let's turn to Revelation 19:19. Revelations 19, verse 19. Just 3 verses here. This king of fierce continents, understanding dark sentences, what becomes of him in the ultimate de-leavening? Revelations 19:19. And I saw a beast and the kings of the earth, and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse, which is Yeshua, and against his army, which is the angels who will come with him. In verse 20, and the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. Those both were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. And the remnants were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. I say this is the ultimate de-leavening of the beast and the false prophet, because you don't hear from them or see them anymore after Yeshua's return. They're already in the lake of fire, that ultimate burning. The principalities and spiritual wickedness of this world will be removed like a can of biscuits sitting on the back of the refrigerator rack. You think it thinks that it's hidden from you and you can't see it, but Yahweh knows it's there. And he sees it, and he will throw it into the fire when the days of unleavened and his ultimate cleansing of his earth. I want to liken what he's doing to the days of unleavened, because I know those are separate, but in my mind, it kind of applies. The getting rid of the sin out of our lives and out of this world. And we all know that, in some cases we have forgotten things in refrigerators and pantries, and our cars, and the microwave. You open it up and it's 2 days in and you're like, what is that in the top of my microwave? Little breadcrumbs that have popped off of something. But that's how we learn. That's how we build up our knowledge. That next year, guess what? That won't happen. And the year after that, guess what? Those biscuits won't be left back there. And guess what? The next year might be the year. And you're prepared. Psalms 37:37. Psalms 37:37. Really quick there. Psalms 37, verse 37. The delineation between the two, those that are good and those that are leavening and those that are unleavened. Psalm 37 verse 37 says, "Mark the perfect man and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace." And that's what we're all striving for, the peace of Yahweh's kingdom, not being troubled and burdened and yoked by the adversary and his minions. Verse 38, "But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off. But the salvation of the righteous is of Yahweh. He is their strength in their time of trouble. And Yahweh shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trust in him." Yeshua's ultimate DeLeavening, I like to think of it as our ultimate deliverance from the wicked, from the pestering, from the net that's buzzing around your ear and won't leave you alone. They will be cut off and destroyed together. And that together is that lake of fire burning with brimstone, where all of them will be cast in the ultimate DeLeavening. 2 Peter 3 verse 7, just one verse here. 2 Peter 3 verse 7, talking about the fire that will consume a third of all the earth. And Yeshua is coming, and the fire that will consume everything when Yahweh's ultimate great day. 2 Peter 3:7 says, "But the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men." And I'll stop there. Reserved unto fire against the day of judgment. The ultimate removal. Yahweh's fire will DeLeaven the old heavens and earth twice, as we mentioned. Yeshua is coming, and then after the 1,000 years, after Satan is loose. But Yahweh won't forget those crumbs hidden underneath the stovetop. Anybody forgot to lift up the stove? Towards the end of unleavened, you look and it's just all crumbs everywhere. Oh yeah, done that before. Crumbs get everywhere, and they don't stop. Yesterday, I was taking out the trash, and something just told me, look down. I look down, and there's a bucket that sits in the trash thing. I look in there, and just crumbs everywhere. Like, oh my goodness. Shake it out. Let's get them out of here. So what are the crumbs when it comes to Yahweh? Let's turn to Jude 1:6. Yahweh's not going to forget those crumbs that are trying to stick around and be forgotten or unnoticed. Jude 1, verse 6, just one verse here. We all know this verse. I like to call it the crumbs. Jude 1, verse 6 says, I'll let you guys turn there. Jude 1, verse 6, "And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting change unto darkness, until the judgment of the great day." Can't forget about the crumbs that are sitting in the abyss, hiding, or thinking that they know what their fate will be. They don't know when it will happen, but those are also going to be rid. So not even just everything in this realm, but everything that's reserved in a different realm must be DeLeavened before the new heaven and earth can exist. Anything that is wicked, evil, has iniquity found in it, anything that has sin will be considered leaven and will be destroyed by fire, even those that are chained in the abyss. Let's switch gears here. So who's left? Let's recap. We got the wicked, we got beast and the false prophet. We got the angels that didn't keep their first date. Who's left to get rid of? Satan. Thank you, Dennis. That big loaf of bread that's sitting right in front of the pantry, that if it was a snake, no pun intended, it'd bit you. Has anybody ever DeLeavened, and then when you come back, you look and you're just like, how in the world did I miss that? It's right there. You're so busy looking behind everything and reading canisters. There's a big canister or breadcrumb sitting right in front of you. Can't forget the adversary. And what is, let's turn to 1 John 3, verse 7. What does Scripture say about his demise and his eventual downcoming and his eventual destruction? I got so many verses on that. This will take up the rest of the time. Because the adversary, he's the ultimate sin or sinner. He's the liar from the beginning. He's the one that, if you ask me, caused all of this. 1 John 3, verse 7. 1 John 3, 7 says, little children, let no man deceive you. He that doth righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous. He that committeth sin is of the devil, and the devil sinneth from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of Elohim was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil. DeLeavening the works of the devil first. Taking down that system that I mentioned earlier that has overtaken the entire world gradually over centuries to get people's mind so that they don't even know they're a part of the system. He will destroy the works, and that's what he came to do, his sacrifice for us. Verse 9, whosoever is born of Elohim doth not commit sin, for his seed remaineth in him. And he cannot sin, because he is born of Elohim. And this the children of Elohim are manifest in the children of the devil. Whosoever doth not righteousness is not of Elohim, neither he that loveth not his brother. The moment that Yeshua died for our sins, the adversary's fate was sealed. His system was destroyed. Now you might ask, oh, Yeshua died over 2,000 years ago. System has been going. Well, that's in our realm. That's in our time frame. But where has Yeshua been? With the Father. And what time frame is that? There is no time. It's almost like, if you think about it, everything that's in, I think it's Revelation 5, of him breaking the seals, and he was the only one that could grab the book or open the seals and break all seven. When he left and did what he had to do, when he destroyed the Satan's ability to kill and our ability to, inherit eternal life, it might be still going on in their realm, but we're still sitting here running through time. So if you ask me, this is still true. When he died for us, he was given the power to destroy the works of the devil. And that's what I say to the devil. Everything that you rely on right now to try to get rid of his saints and, pester us and to kill those and to, mentally manipulate those that are in this world will all come to an end. So while you're pushing us around the playground, but you think about what's going to happen to you eventually. Yahweh said it, and it will happen. He's purposed it, and it will be purposed. I'm sure he doesn't want to think about that because he knows his time is short, as we read. Hebrews 2, verse 8. So not only did Yeshua and what he did give him the might to destroy the works of the devil, it also gave him the might to do what? Let's do Hebrews 2, verse 8. got a few verses here. And I'll tell you before we read it. It gave him the might to also destroy the devil, adversary himself. Hebrews 2 verse 8 says, "Thou hast put all things into subjection under his feet." We read that earlier. "For in that he put all in subjection under him, he left nothing that is not put under him. But now we see not yet all things put under him, but we see Yeshua, who was made a little lower than the angels for the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor, that he be the grace of Elohim should taste death for every man. For it became him for whom are all things, and by whom all things are, and by whom are all things, and bringing many sons unto glory, to make the captains of their salvation perfect through suffering. For both he that sacrificeth and they who are sacrificed are all of one, for which cause he is not ashamed to call them brethren, saying, I will declare thy name unto my brethren. In the midst of the church will I sing praise unto thee. And again, I will put my trust in him. And again, behold, I and the children which Elohim hath given me. For as much then as the children are partaker of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part in the same, that through death he might destroy him that had the power of death, that is, the devil. Our suffering allows us to be partakers of the same suffering, not nearly to the extent that Yeshua suffered. And though some of us may be destroyed, not nearly to the extent that Yeshua died for us, Yeshua will declare and proclaim us to be brethren in the midst of the church. And that ability that we have to become sons and daughters, we remove ourselves from that leavening to become DeLeavened. We move ourselves in a different realm, in a different place, so that the adversary no longer has dominion or power or the power of death over us. Because where there is light, there is life. And where there's death, there's darkness. Yeshua gave us the ability to come out of that darkness with his power to destroy it, the biggest sinner of them all. Not destroying him immediately when he returned, putting him in chains, but eventually. Let's go to Romans 16:19. Romans 16, verse 19. We're kind of breaking into the middle of this one, but I'll read it from the top. Just 2 verses here. Romans 16, verse 19. Romans 16:19 says, For your obedience is come abroad unto all men. And here's what I want to pick up. I am glad, therefore, on your behalf, but yet I would have you wise unto that which is good and simple concerning the evil. And the Elohim of peace shall bruise Satan under your feet shortly. And I'll reread that. The Elohim of peace shall bruise Satan under your feet shortly. The grace of our Master Yeshua Messiah be with you. So it's saying shortly he'll be destroyed. He'll be ashes under our feet, so to speak. But how is it shortly when he's been running amok for so long and continues? Well, it's not time yet. Nobody knows, not even the angels, when that time will be. It's our job to be prepared, to make sure that we are removing the leaven out of our spirit and our body and our temple, so that when it does happen, we're ready. Let's go to Ezekiel 28:17. Curtis' favorite verses. Ezekiel 28:17. Because I really, when I thought about it, Yahweh and Yeshua bruising Satan under our feet. And I'm like, okay, so will we see the destruction of the ultimate leavening, so to speak? The biggest sinner of them all. Will we witness what will happen to him? The answer is yes. Ezekiel 28:17. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground, and I will lay thee before kings, that they might behold thee. Lay them before kings. And when we become saints, when we're changed in a twinkling of an eye, be kings and priests. So who is he laying the adversary before? Us. You know, when I watch movies and the bad guy get his comeuppance at the very end, it's always at the very end. Doesn't that make you feel good? So thinking about all the stuff the adversary has done to Yahweh's people, Yahweh's given us the privilege to be able to witness him getting his comeuppance, laying him before our feet. Verse 18 says, Thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thine iniquities, by the iniquities of thy traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee. I shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. All they that know thee among the people shall be astonished at thee. Thou shalt be a terror, and never shalt thou be any more in our sight. Yes, Bob?
You know, it appears in this statement here that he's going to be physical at this point.
He will be physical to the point to where he can be destroyed and turned to ashes.
Have to, yeah.
Yeah. Or it might be that his spiritual body, Yahweh is done. The lake of fire will get rid of him. In our eyes. Under our feet.
Wait and see, though.
Yes, under our feet. So I say to the adversary, keep on pushing. Keep on knocking us down in the playground. Keep being the big bully. Because shortly, we will all have pleasure in seeing the destruction of the biggest sinner there ever was. Revelations 20:10, just in case we didn't get it, what's going to happen to him? Revelation 20:10, just one verse here. Revelations 20, verse 10. We all know this verse. And I know I don't have any new scriptures from, what we've read before, but it's almost like we have to bring this back to our remembrance. We have to keep remembering what will happen. When you start going through something really hard, we tend to focus on that and not the good things that are going to happen later. And that's what the adversary wants. He wants to keep your mind over here and not what's down there to come. Revelation 20 verse 10 says, And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. Yahweh will destroy the final obvious loaf of bread to be de-leavened in his kingdom that's sitting right before everybody's eyes. Removing it so that the new heaven and the new earth can exist without leavening. Proverbs 14:11, you don't have to turn there. One verse, Proverbs 14:11 says, The house of the wicked shall be overthrown, but the tabernacle of the upright shall flourish. The ultimate results. So as we take out the leavening out of our house, or it should be already out, make sure that we don't mess up as we always do. Watch out for the croutons and the Caesar salad.
Donut.
Yeah, the donuts. If you're going to work, I often take off this week just so I don't have to accidentally eat something somewhere else. But I always get tripped up by the croutons. Making sure that we don't take in the leavening that is considered sin in this week of unleavened bread. Being mindful, keeping it to the forefront of what Yahweh is trying to teach us with this yearly feast to Him. What will transpire in the future, what we should have in our mind of the results that will happen. It takes the power away from those that seem to have so much control and so much power in these days. As it says, iniquity seems to flourish, wickedness growing like grass, sin and evil running rampant. Where is our strength? Where is our courage? Where is our faith? Where is our hope? Where is the things that are going to keep us and manage us through these times? It is in Yahweh and Yahshua. Finally, let's turn to 2 Thessalonians 1, verse 6. 2 Thessalonians 1, verse 6. I like this verse because it explains what Yahweh will do to those that are troubling us and what Yahshua has done to those that are troubling us. 2 Thessalonians 1, verse 6. A couple of verses here. Second Thessalonians 1, 6 says, seeing it is a righteous thing with Elohim to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. How you like that? We go through the tribulation, but afterwards, the wicked will go through their tribulation. Their tribulation will be much, 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 much harder than what we're going through now. Verse 7, and to you who are troubled, rest with us. When the Master Yahshua shall be revealed from the heavens with his mighty angels, in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not Elohim, and that obey not the gospel of our Master Yahshua Messiah, who shall be punished with everlasting destruction from the presence of Yahweh and from the glory of his power, when he shall come to be glorified in his saints and to be admired in all them that believe, because our testimony among you was believed in that day. Wherefore also we pray always for you, that our Elohim would count you worthy of this calling, and fulfill all the good pleasures of his goodness, and the works of faith with power, that the name of our Master Yahshua Messiah may be glorified in you, and ye in him, according to the grace of our Elohim Yahweh and the Master Yahshua Messiah. Hallelujah. Hope you guys have a great Feast of Unleavens the rest of this week. We will see you guys back here. What's the last day? Sunday. Oh, we'll be here Sabbath too, also. So we'll see you guys Sabbath at 1 o'clock. Oh, and I think I'm up.
You're gonna be up.
Oh, double dose of me. So you guys have a wonderful rest of your first day of unleavened and the rest of your week, and we'll see you guys Saturday at 1 o'clock. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.